When I was a kid, I was a gangster. Real old school type. Rex Calabrese. He was a big deal. He helped people. He knew everyone's names, too. If he saw you on the street, he'd call out to you. Ask how you were. Felt like he meant it, too. When I'm 14 or something, he has a heart attack and dies. Still holding a cigar. In my neighborhood, they throw a parade in his honor. A friggin' parade. Can you imagine to be remembered like that? Revered?
Hi, this is Michael Uslan. You're listening to Batman on Film.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore!
Plug you in, my tuning up frequency. Jett and the crew, they got the remedy. Discussing Bats and all his legacy. Mike is silent. Welcome to the social hour. We're talking gospel, strength, power. Look in the field of protest, got the keys to the Batmobile. Lights shoot down the shuts about the sun. Jealous wisdom striking like a tongue. Rebel ways of harm. We're in deep, not sleep. Welcome to the social hour. Exploring Gotham's darkest hours. Tune in, feel the charge. Jett set the hill with throwing large.
Welcome to the Social Hour, a Batman on Film podcast, batman-on-film.com. I am the host of Batman on... Yeah, I'm the host of this show. Pete, did you know I'm the host of the Social Hour? The Social Hour?
You do whatever Rachel lets you do.
I am the host of this Batman on Film podcast and also the founder of Batman on Film. Did I ever tell you that story of how I started Batman on Film on a web TV?
No, I've never heard that one.
One of these days I'll have to tell you about it.
Okay.
It's crazy. It's a crazy story. How you doing, Pete?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. What's going on?
Nothing much. Just same old, same old. Just, going through the motions.
Okay. How's your Batman fandom right now? Pretty good?
It's really at an all-time high. Really,
okay.
It's really peaking right now, especially post-Penguin.
I was going to ask you, what's the reason behind that?
It's definitely Oswald.
Oz Cobb?
I'm riding the Oswald train, just enjoying the moment, living in the moment.
All right, well, we're going to talk about the Penguin, which concluded last night. Episode 8 aired. A Great or Little Thing is the title. And by the way, this is Batman on Film Social Hour number 186. Let's ride, Pete. You think I was going to forget Let's Ride?
I was hoping.
Lauer likes it. I mean, it's become a thing. It's become a pop culture thing. It's out there
it's become your thing.
It's in the zeitgeist of fan culture. All right. A Great or Little Thing, directed by Jennifer Getzinger and written by the showrunner herself, Lauren LaFranc. And of course, executive producers are the great Matt Reeves, Dylan Clark, Colin Farrell, Lauren LaFranc, and et al. ETAL.
No James Gunn?
I do not believe Mr. James Gunn is part of this production.
Interesting.
The synopsis says truths are laid bare as Oz Cobb nears the end of his journey and his power struggle with Sophia comes to a head, and boy does it. Yeah. All right, so first thing let's just talk 8 episodes. Which I am, again, I'll say this again, I am so happy they didn't drop it once. It's been as I say, enjoy the ride. It's been a ride. It's been a ride.
Mhm.
These 2
Yeah.
months, following the Penguin each week, and getting excited for the next episode, talking about each one each week. So yeah. Overall, what's your thoughts on this series? Did it exceed your expectations? Did it beat your expectations? How
It definitely,
surprised were you with what it was, the final product, compared to
I
what you
want
thought
to,
it might be?
I want to say it definitely met my expectations. It just did it differently than I thought it was going to be. I personally just wasn't expecting this dive into Oswald's personal life that we got. Even through the first couple episodes, I didn't really see it coming. The way they ended it, it's mostly about like it really digs into his characterization and his motivations. I just didn't see it happening this way.
Well, it ends up being the root of who
Yeah,
he is,
yeah.
you
Which
know?
which I think is a really good angle. Mostly because I didn't see it coming. I kind of expected it to be more of a straightforward gangster show, which it definitely has its elements, but there's a lot of backstory and what made him who he is, and
Yeah.
just how evil he really can be.
They definitely succeeded in making him an unlikable, evil, I mean, really evil character
Yeah,
all the way around. In the beginning, you could almost find yourself rooting for Oz in a way, but man, he's a son of a bitch, and that's putting it
yeah,
mildly.
that's true.
All right, for me, it exceeded expectations. I didn't know what to expect other than, you know, the obvious, which was kind of the synopsis, with Carmine Falcone dying in the Batman. There will be a power struggle with, I figured Maroni would actually just be released instead of escape Blackgate, but I'm sure that was eventually coming. But I mean, he ran the joint anyway, so it wasn't like, he was in prison, if you will. But I figured he would return and want his piece of it. Never expected this, how they made Sophia such a great character,
Yeah,
such a great character. And I just figured that. And then you had Michael Zegan played Alberto briefly, but he was in flashbacks and whatnot. And so I thought, you'd have the remaining of the Falcone family fighting the Maroni family, fight with Oz trying to get to the top, which is kind of what it is, but not the way I figured it. That's why I always say, Pete, I say fans should fan, creatives let them create, right?
yeah,
And certainly,
and
I
keep
certainly
Justin
didn't.
far away.
I certainly did not. I didn't. I tried not to write stories, scripts in my mind before I see them, because I've seen so many times you expect one thing and you get something else, and then you're pissed off.
Yeah, it
It's
sounds
like
like what
you're in
happened with
your
Rises.
you're angry because it wasn't what you expected or wanted. So but it exceeded my expectations. So everything came to a head. We know last episode Maroni died, so his fate was sealed. We knew his fate. He dropped dead of a heart attack, which was fantastic way to go out because it prevented Oz from being able to want to actually do it. I mean, he even shoots his dead body, and it took that away, that satisfaction away from Oz. So, but we have the rest. We discover the fate of Oz, Vic, Sophia, Francis. We even find out Eve makes an appearance. Our old friend Chief Mackenzie Bach comes back, and even Dr. Rush is there at the beginning and at the end. So
Yeah, I want to say like not one
where do we
thing ended
start?
the way I thought it was going to. It just didn't. Everything kind of really happened in a shocking fashion.
I
for me.
thought, okay, my predictions. Let's see what I did think there would be the bat signal at the end. I made that prediction. It wasn't exactly like I thought he would be in that, that Falcone penthouse office, kind of the same look as he had it like at the end of the Batman they had in episode 1 of the Penguin, and the bat signal would flash. But he's even in a fancier penthouse now, and we'll get to Oz's fate here. But we knew we figured Oz would come out on top. He would become the Penguin.
Yeah,
Do you think
he is the Penguin?
yeah, but the Penguin. I was going to ask, does he come to embrace that term, or will it always be a nickname that he despises?
Probably 50-50. He'll probably despise it, but that's probably what people will call him on the street, right? Like, I just, he'll be referred to as the Penguin, maybe not to his face, essentially. Maybe at some point he does embrace it. I don't know. But I kind of enjoy the fact that it's more of a negative moniker than anything else.
Yeah. So this starts out with another flashback scene, and it tells the story of going to the nightclub, young Oz and Frances going to the nightclub from her point of view and not Oz's. And in fact, you had Deidre O'Connell, who plays the older Frances. They didn't use the flashback Frances actress. It was just in the mirror. When she looked in the mirror when she was dressed, you saw the young one, but it was the older actress playing Frances in these flashback scenes.
Which I thought was kind of jarring until they explained it. Like, I was just, oh wow, like, okay, what are they doing here? Yeah, and you realize that the doctor is he's doing his dirty work.
Yeah, it's her point of view, and it's the flashback to where it's Julian Rush with his strobe light, zigzag light thing, hypnosis, digging up stuff, and then they being Dr. Rush and Sophia, discovered what had happened, and we find out that Frances knew that Oz was responsible for the two older boys, or his two brothers' deaths, which based on the previous episode, I didn't know if she ever knew that Oz had anything to do with it, but she always knew,
Yeah, I thought that was pretty intriguing. Frances had a lot of really great scenes in this episode.
Oh, she was great.
Yeah. And a lot of it, like, I just didn't see coming. Like, her whole conversation with Rex, essentially what to do with Oswald, was almost as disturbing as Oswald's fate, as what Oswald did to his brothers, to be honest with you. Hearing her kind of contemplate, taking them out. It just goes to show you, like, how screwed up these people are. She's having this conversation with essentially her boss, right? And
it's funny that Rex was someone that Oz admired and wanted to be like. And at one time, Rex would have had taken him out or had someone do it for him, for killing his brothers, because he must have had a soft spot for Frances back in the day, back in the 88, back when Beetlejuice came out, and
maybe I that part was really shocking to me, because I'm sitting back here, I'm like, who's more cruel? Like, obviously Oz gets this from his mother, but like, Oz killed his brothers, but she's willing to kill her own. Like, it's very Oswalda, right? Like, I feel like we've been here before. Penguin and Penguin related media.
I don't think that it was. I think Oswalda from the Caped Crusader, she had no love for any of her children, obviously. Frances did love all three of her kids a lot, including Oz. It seems like she may, but he took those two boys away from her. She said, you took they were my babies. You took them away. And she tells him that she's always hated him. All this, and stabs him stabs him in the stomach.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty crazy. There were certain points where I'm sitting here watching this. I'm like, did Oz actually do this, or is she just that mentally ill? Like, like where she made it up in her heads and she can't tell the difference between
Well, let me
reality or whatnot. Did she always speculate? Like, I just think the argument between or just the portrayal and the acting job done by Farrell, like he did a really good job of almost making me doubt what I just saw moments ago.
Yeah, that's what he does. That's what Oz does. He's
Yeah.
he's a sociopath. He's a liar. He everything is about him. He's a narcissist.
Because it was almost like he kind of blocked it out until she brought it up.
He
She's
was
like, I know what you did.
he was going to let me set this up. So, Oz was brought in by the drops cop who worked for Sophia. The cop that was hooked on the drops whacked him across the head at the explosion scene in Crown Point. Took him to Sophia, and who was there with Dr. Rush. And of course, they had his mother, and Oz is tied up. They're basically going to cut Francis's finger off. The pinky. Here we go. Reference back to Alberto, and Oz was going to let him go through with it. He would, Sophia was trying to get him, tell your mother what you did. Tell her, admit what you did. And he wouldn't do it. Yeah. And even blamed the damn the dementia episodes as the reason for this.
Farrell was really brilliant.
But Deidre O'Connell, who played Frances, was fantastic in this. And I felt bad for her. I really did.
She had probably the most realistic collapse in media I've ever seen. Usually when someone faints in TV or in a movie, it's kind of half-assed, but man, she really hit the ground hard. I thought that was the best I don't know, flop I've ever seen.
I mean, she sees, she has a hallucination. I thought it was I don't want to say scary, but it was eerie. The two boys were dripping wet,
very Crystal Lake,
slowly fading out. And she ends up having a stroke and just dropping, boom, drops right there, which opens up, gives Oz a chance to get out. Again, he gets out of a tight spot, right?
Yeah.
How does this guy get out of so many tight spots?
He's penguin strength.
He's got it's relative strength of a penguin.
He's got the strength of 17 penguins.
He ends up using the glass the broken bottle glass that his mother stabbed him with. He pulls it out and he stabs one of Sophia's men, gets hold of his gun. Sophia and Rush, they take off. Oz picks up his mother, heads out to the hospital. So,
and then one of the greatest one-shot, one-kills I've ever seen in my life. He pops the drop cop from 50 yards away, right between. I think he just takes him out right in the eye.
He's an expert marksman. Expert marksman.
Man.
That's cop. So Frances, that's her fate. She has a stroke. And she is essentially locked in her body, going in and out with the dementia episodes. And that's the way she will remain for the rest of her natural life. And as we see in the end, he can't even take his mother out. So he doesn't do what he promised. I thought he was going to whack her in front of Sophia and take the power away from her, but no.
Yeah, I had a feeling. I thought that might have happened, but then the way the scene played out in the jazz club, I knew that wasn't going to be it. There was going to be some sort of, I don't know, rescue or whatever. But I knew he wasn't going to take her out at that moment.
He needs his mother so much, her approval so much, that he needs her around. He keeps her in this vegetative state. She's locked, she's having these episodes silently in and out in a hospital bed. Got her in the penthouse. He got her to the penthouse, right, Pete?
Mm-hmm.
And she's up in the penthouse in a hospital bed, and that's how she's in a prison. She's locked in
at
a
the end of the
prison,
episode, he's
essentially.
basically calling Eve his mother, right? Like,
Yeah, we're gonna get to that.
some-
Hold on now. Hold on. Hodeon. Remember that? That's a Texas word. Hold on. One word. So that is Francis's fate, which is I kind of rooted for. I kind of liked Francis, even though she kind of. She is the root of Oz and what he becomes on so many levels. It's like she pushed him into that world, the gangster world. And she also was the one who, a lot of his psychological problems go back to his mother.
Uh-huh.
And so that combination is completely the root of who he is.
I don't know if I can necessarily say I like Friends. I don't know. They're all kind of bad people, to be honest with you. Like Oswald she's bad enough to, I don't know.
Well,
the fact that even though she wanted to kill him, I don't know.
I had
just bad people doing bad things. I can't say I necessarily like anyone, really.
Because
but outside of Oswald, I'm rooting for Oswald the whole way, to be honest with you.
I had empathy for her. We find out her two sons died when they were kids.
Mm-hmm.
That's gotta, obviously that rocks your world. I had empathy for her. So Francis does not meet a happy ending. Sophia
might have gotten the worst, and not the worst, but she might have dealt the worst card on everyone.
Okay, that one I called. I asked Lauer last Friday. We did the primer for this episode, and I said, "All right, Lauer, what is a fate worse than death for Sophia?" And he went, "Arkham," and I went, "Bingo." Well, that's what happens. But she still seems like she's got the upper hand. Even when Oz escapes with his mother, she still seems like she's got all the cards. Maroney is gone. Oz really doesn't have anything at that point, but he does. And so she calls a meeting of these second tier gangsters that we've met in previous episodes, and says she is leaving Gotham, and whoever brings her Oz will win everything she had, that whatever's left of that Falcone / Gigante empire, and she was gone.
Mm-hmm.
So you still know Oz is going to come out on top. So how did you think he would take her down? I thought it was going to have something to do with the murders of.
I had no idea.
Killed her whole family, but he basically.
I just had no idea, because every time I try to figure out what this show's going to do, it goes in a completely different direction.
I didn't see.
So I stopped trying to figure out what they were going to do, and I just kind of took it for as it is. I thought the interaction between Oz and I thought it was great, because obviously Victor does his job right. To an extent, he originally tries to get the gang members together to kind of help out Oz at the crater scene.
Yeah.
But it doesn't work out, because they're all afraid, because there's going to be too many cops. The last thing they want to do is be seen by police. So they all kind of leave him, and then Link actually saves Victor in the moment, and then it turns out to be beneficial for everyone. I loved how they turned the cards on Sophia. I thought that was great. She thinks she has the upper hand until she doesn't, until Link obviously betrays everyone in his inner circle in Victor's favor. Because this is really the transition of power. It's at that moment where he becomes the Penguin, because at that moment he takes out, I believe, the triad leader.
Yeah.
He goes
Yeah.
down in the gunfight, and it's essentially just Sophia, which now is her fate's in Oz's hands. So basically that hangar scene is basically the moment Oz takes control of Gotham City
It's
entirely, because
he
they put everyone away.
he plays his card again with the city councilman.
That's actually the best scene in the episode, in my
He
opinion.
plays that
'Cause
card. He's
that's
there. He's at City Hall. We get a little. We see Bella Real, the new mayor, briefly.
nice little cameo.
Yeah.
These are
And-
Easter eggs of connected universes I like, not that shoved down
Yeah.
your throat shit.
Yeah. She so that's where, you know, he owns this city councilman now.
And
know what
I
mean?
want to say this too, because it's like I've been hearing a lot of like idiots on the internet, and they've been complaining a lot, and Justin's been complaining a lot too about dumb shit. But it's like, you know, like if you watched the season and you watched it unfold, and you're complaining about monocles and top hats, and then you get to the scene where he's negotiating, you know, essentially with this councilman, I got the entire mafia wrapped up for you. You can be this huge hero. And they have this conversation. He talks about, you've got to clean it up. You want to be accepted by these people. You want to be the aristocrat, Kowalski. Then you've got to clean up your act, and you've got to look presentable. And it's cool because by episode's end, he's got his top hat. He's got his tuxedo. He's essentially the Penguin. So everything everyone complained about for 7 previous episodes, you got to learn how to just wait. Like, you just can't be impatient. You got to stop saying dumb stuff on Twitter, because by the end, you're just biting yourself. I'm sorry, because he is the Penguin, though. He is the aristocrat. He's got the tuxedo. He's got the top hat. He's at the top. He's at the top house of Gotham. He's looking over everything. Like, I'm tired of fanboys just being impatient. They want everything yesterday instead of the build up to it. Like, this story was phenomenal. It really was. Like, it also, like, is it the greatest TV show of all time? No, but it's the most enjoyable Gotham. It's the most enjoyable Batman TV show we've had since 1966, live action. You know, because there's also that huge stain on Fox, right? Like, it's gone above and beyond. And by episode's end, by season's end, he is the definitive Penguin. Like, I'm sorry, I can't listen to these guys on the internet complain about stupid things.
I didn't need him ever. I don't need the top hat. I didn't need a monocle. I didn't need, you know, tricked out umbrellas, or in a, you know, the cigarette holder and all that, you know, stuff. Yeah, they got him holding a top hat. It must have been at some swanky Gotham event. He's in a fancy tuxedo, you know. Okay, fine, but he's still he's the Penguin, and he at that point, he is.
He's held umbrellas through the series. I mean, the only thing he really honestly hasn't had is the monocle, and it's like I don't care about that.
Yeah, like,
you know, the characterization for this guy has been so on point, and then he's gone above and beyond with his backstory.
I don't need the umbrella to be able to turn into a machine gun or become a helicopter or anything. Okay, so, you know, whatever, but. You know, also with the councilman now in his pocket, that's how he ends up getting the cops turned on Sophia, and he sets it up.
Oh man, he basically he writes the whole story.
He you know, I thought it would be killing her family that would get her back to Arkham, but it was her car going into the drug lab underground and blowing up is what got her in trouble.
She set herself up. Yeah. I mean, and then
she was a terrorist.
Oz just plays the hand he's dealt. He's like, Maroni's body's down there. The car's under Sophia's name, right? That he's going to get her. She's got to pass history. The fact that he didn't kill her is actually kind of mind-boggling to me. Did
you think he was going to shoot her?
I did. I thought he was going to kill her. I really did. I thought that whole setup with that was masterful. Get in the car, just like the old days. He was riding her down. I thought he was going to put her at the end. But I do think that her going into Arkham is much more of a miserable experience for her than her dying. It's probably
that's what exactly. I got that prediction right. I said, yes. What is a fate for her worse than death? It's almost like she was welcoming him to shoot her. You know, He tells her,
Yeah.
"You're going, turn around. You're going to hell." And she said, "I'll save a seat for you." And then she turned. He's gone, and there's old Mackenzie, Chief Bach, coming in. Get your hands behind you. Oh yeah, that's how you son of a bitch. So, and sends her back to Arkham. Let's finish up with her fate. So she's back in Arkham. You have her tray of food. She's not eating, obviously, and she's just almost catatonic. Rush is back there. He's gone, I guess, without.
Which means I think he's been playing both sides of the fence too. I think he's probably been working Ozzy, because there's always been some kind of weird sexual tension between Sophia and Rush, and I really I was like, this kind of, he was a little slime ball. He definitely like slid under the radar a little bit, and I was like, oh man, this guy was definitely in on it. I think he totally was, because there's no way he's working at the hospital and he's not, he didn't help out Ozzy, in my opinion.
Yeah.
He definitely was Ozzy's inside man.
Well, we could find out that at some point, or we may not. And if you want to, that's part of your story, that it works, that's part of filling the gaps in his
What do you
fans of
think the
something.
letter was?
Hey, y'all, it's Bill Ramey, founder of Batman on Film. Let's take a quick pause in this podcast for these words from our sponsor. Well, it's.
I think that's a really interesting.
He brings her mail. He brings mail, and he says it's typical stuff. It's like poems and marriage proposals. But he said, you've got one that's different. I think you should read it. It's from Selena Kyle. She says that she's your half sister, and so it's in a black envelope. She takes the letter. That sumbitch had read it. He'd opened up mail, I guess they have to open up their mail.
I think they open up all their mail.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
And he brings it. She opens it up, and it's great acting by Kristen at that point, because there's no dialogue. It's just her reading the letter and just the subtle expressions on her face. It's something in there. It almost brings her a little bit of happiness out of this state of complete misery.
You know what it is, right? I know what it is. Catwoman's going to break out Sophia, and she's going to become Shush, and then she's going to be
Jesus Christ.
That'll be the villains for the Batman Part 4.
Horse shit.
I'm ready. I'm just saying, Shush is coming.
Ain't gonna be no Shush. That's stupid as shit. That's one of the dumbest characters I've ever heard created.
I actually argue that she's actually a very good character.
Shush is a good character.
Funny name, but I read the books. I enjoyed the character. It was a good character.
Okay. Well, bless your heart. There's more to come with Selena and Sophia. What that is, we'll see. We'll see.
Which is interesting, because I'm wondering, like, was that always like, because now, like, because the performance by I can't remember her name, but the actress who played Sophia, I'm just kind of wondering, like, was anything ever changed? Like, were they ever going to kill her? But then, like, you just see this powerhouse performance happen in front of your eyes, and you kind of figure out a different way. Stuff like that always happens in production.
Well,
I'm just curious if it did. I
can tell you the answer to that question, Pete. According to Lauren LaFranc, is that there was consideration of just having Oz kill her, but ultimately her going to Arkham, being her fate worse than death, was the best way to go.
Yeah, no, I definitely think I definitely
agree.
love what they did.
So yeah, there. Yeah, that would be Kristen Milioti, who plays Sophia in The Penguin. All right, so we know Sophia. Sophia's locked up in Arkham. And then we have something going to go on. Well, we'll see her again. She was such a great, powerful character. I bet she's in the Batman Part 2. And
I don't personally need to see her again, to be honest. Like, she's locked up in Arkham. She could stay there. I've kind of had my fill. Like, I don't need them going to the well too often. But if she pops up again, so
well, I don't think she's ever going to break out and be mob boss Sophia. And it's one thing, she didn't want that life, but there's something with Selena's coming. Something with Selena's coming.
Yeah, I mean, they left that open-ended, so
Yes.
Clearly, they have ideas.
We know okay, we talked about Frances. She's catatonic. She's got her penthouse, and Oz kept her alive. She's in her own, literally locked in her side of her head in her own prison. And Oz couldn't even fulfill his promise he made to her. Oz, we've talked about we mainly know Oz's primarily. We've talked about Oz's fate. We'll finish up with that.
Well, there's
Vic.
Victor.
That's where we're going. There's old Vic. I thought there for a moment, Pete, that Vic was going to make it out.
Yeah, I think Victor killed himself. I really did.
That was
he dropped that F word, and that was it.
That may be the most disturbing scene it wasn't even gory, but this just straight up disturbing, shocking scene in this entire series. And of all the bad things that Oz has done to make me love to dislike him as much as I do, this one put it over the top by killing Vic.
I didn't see it coming. When they're on that bench, I just thought they were going to reminisce and talk about the future and how they just took over Gotham, and again, just another twist, another turn. I didn't see it coming, and I really don't know what to say. I'm kind of shocked. It just
tells him,
Oswald loves to kill the people closest to him.
I can't take you with me this time, he tells him, and then strangles him. And it's because, Pete, to be where he wants to be, he cannot care about anybody. That's a weakness. That's a weakness. You know, and Vic tells him, Oz, you're like family to me. And I think that sealed it right then. That sealed it.
Yeah, I think Victor should have just kept his mouth shut.
And maybe Oz was planning on that before, Vic might not have said anything, and it was still going to happen. But
I'm not sure. It seems like that family word really triggered him.
Perhaps. But we've seen all along that he had some affection for Vic, right?
He definitely did. I mean, you definitely saw him kind of take him under his wing at certain points. Even when he was frustrated with him, he gave him a little bit of leeway. You don't know what to expect when it comes to Oswald. You don't know what to expect.
No, absolutely not. So that is the fate of Vic, who I thought for a moment was going to make it out until when I said, I can't take you with me this time, kid, and strangled the life out of him. And I was like, that was hard to watch. I'm not going to lie to you. That was hard to watch. And, he takes the cash out of his wallet and tosses his ID. So
it's almost like he's a John Doe.
That he will have, there's no remembrance of Vic. He has no family.
Yeah.
And he's just, going to go into just disappear anonymously.
I mean, if you look at, to be honest, probably somebody will find the body. They'll probably assume, he's got no license. He's got no nothing. They'll probably assume he's like some homeless guy from Crown Point, right? From the incident. And he was just murdered in the park, and it'll go unsolved. It'll be a cold case. Like he has no family, so no one's looking for him. And he's just another soul taken by Gotham City.
Let's finish up here with Oz. And we see at the end, you already alluded to, his fancy attire. He's in the penthouse. And our old friend Eve Carlo is back. Another sort of disturbing scene in a way.
This might have been one of the more disturbing ones, personally.
Shout out to, props to Carmen Ejogo, who plays Eve. And remember, she was she had all these different wigs and get-ups, right? And so she was whoever her client wanted her to be. That's what she was.
I think she dressed up as Oswald's mother a few times.
She was. I mean,
You
the dress was his mother's.
The hair.
Her wig was similar to his mother's.
Yeah.
And he's talking to her like
it's her mother.
I did it right, ma, and and she's just playing along with it, and as they dance in the penthouse. And again, I'm thinking she better be careful. Well, I guess she's gone this long. Oz does not care about her, or maybe she would have been gone by now, because to Oz, you care about someone that's weakness. So maybe that is to be determined, the ultimate fate of Eve. But she is what she is. She's a bit of a grifter herself, and in this case, she was playing the role of Francis Cobb, to tell him the things that Oz wanted to hear from his mother, that his mother did not and cannot say at this point. And as it fades, as the camera pulls back from the penthouse window, we see the Gotham skyline at night. Gordon throws the bat signal. And just as she says, there's no one to stand in your way now. You made it to the top. No one to stand in your way. No one to get in your way. Bat signal lights up. Cut the credits. Fantastic ending.
I liked it a lot.
Called that one,
episode.
Pete. I called that bat signal. Called it.
Yeah. I enjoyed it. I really did.
Look, watch this.
I thought it was something special.
Okay, that was me. Didn't want to drop my mic because it's expensive, so I used this pen as the mic. That was a mic drop.
There you go.
For me.
So
for
there's
calling that. Yeah. So the next
But
up is the Batman Part 2, Pete.
Yeah,
All right.
this is a great little interlude. I've been calling this show the sequel to the Batman. I think it is. I really enjoyed this is really more in common with Scarface than it is The Sopranos, the rise of power, right? The origin story of Oswald almost. I loved it. I thought it was great. I really didn't expect to dive into his personal life. I didn't expect him to be the monster he was. So that was refreshing. I enjoyed all the twists and turns, and it really for me, the first episode will always be the best. I had so much fun just anticipating that, getting into it, getting back into this world for the first time since the movie. That will always be special to me. But man, that scene in the courthouse between Oz and the councilman, I think that's some of the best stuff you'll ever see about Gotham City in any live action media. I really do. I thought that was really brilliant. I fell in love with that. Just the two of them talking, basically helping each other out. Scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. Oswald's getting his hands into the political game. He's the big man on campus when it comes to crime and all the underground activities of Gotham. It's a wonderful setup story for a character that didn't get portrayed properly at all in Gotham and has been kind of MIA in live action since 1992. Really, it's been a while since we've got some great Oswald. So this is probably the best Oswald's ever been on screen ever. Any form of media
about that. He's not he's always been. He's a gimmick character, little short, squatty, fat guy.
Yeah.
In a tuxedo. They call him the Penguin. He has whack, 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 and he's got umbrellas. I mean, it's just nonsense. And I know he's one of the great Batman rogues, but this is taking the character and making it better than the source material. I know that's blasphemy for some, but I mean, we've seen it happen with Batman characters.
I just think it's
before.
the evolved source material. It's not the Penguin from the 50s. This is more of a post No Man's Land Penguin. This is kind of how the Penguin's been portrayed in print since then, in my opinion. It's modern Penguin. It just is.
It was great. I again exceeded my expectations. just to finish up, follow up here. Colin Farrell says he has 5 or 6 scenes in the Batman Part 2 as Oz.
Sounds about right.
I will be interested to see what Oz's role is now. We know the Batman's coming after him. He'll be having a meeting with Batman, I'm sure, at some point. But Oz is there's no
Another one.
Is
They already had one too.
Yeah. Is he there's no competition, right?
No, no, not yet, at least.
Not yet.
Not unless, Roman Sionis or somebody pops up, right? Somebody else wants to take that crown. But as of right now, Oswald's top dog.
Want to see what his role is in the Batman Part 2. We know a lot of this. Well, I'll say a lot of it, but
I think it would be similar to the first movie.
I guess the core story that was in the Penguin was originally meant to be in the Batman Part 2. And they took that and made it into the Penguin. So now the Penguin is
they said it was like the opening or the first half of the movie. It's about Oswald rise.
He is fully formed the Penguin, mob boss of Gotham, when we get to the Batman Part 2. So also Matt Reeves and Lauren LaFranc have both said, we kicked around some ideas. Maybe a Penguin season 2 is possible. We're not going to do it just to do it, they say, but if there's a purpose, if there's a purpose, we can see it's going. And Colin Farrell says he's on board. I know he said that his quote of like, I'm so sick of this character, this was taken out of context, and he was kind of tongue in cheek, it was like, yeah,
it's mostly about the makeup.
You get, 3 hours in the chair every day when you shoot as the Penguin. As Oz gets a little old, but he says he loves the character. So we'll see if there's another season of the Penguin. We know we're getting another series of sort, HBO series set in the world of the Batman as well. Any final what else I was going to mention? They did talk about, this is they being Matt Reeves and Lauren LaFranc, again addressed why no Batman. And she said that she always had it planned for the bat signal to be at the end. She knew the Oz was going to be at the top. He was going to win, and it would be the bat signal. But they did talk about, I think, a scene where Vic somehow comes in contact briefly with Bruce Wayne, was but brought up, and a physical Batman physically showing up in a short cameo, I guess, instead, in place of, or in addition to the bat signal. But both said it felt contrived and shoehorned. And it just
I just don't know where Batman would have popped up, really. Like the only time I think Batman would have ever showed up would be at the incident at Crown Point. But then, like you said, like Oswald isn't there, so the two of them are never in the same place.
He's not there. Soon as
he
gets
I get
out,
why the show didn't go that angle. I was more surprised we didn't see like Martinez or Gordon, to be honest with you. But again, like,
not surprised about Gordon.
You got Bach in there, so the connective tissues there.
Bach was in there. Kinsey showed up,
Again, that's like more or less
scene.
like fanboy bullshit, complaining like, I want my action figures together.
I've said it before, I'll say it again. I didn't, by the time I got 2 or 3, at least halfway through this, I was at the point of, I don't need Batman in this. This is too good. It doesn't need to be propped up by Batman. That bat signal was just enough. It was just,
I think it was fine. It was the perfect tease, because it's like, where's Batman? He's in the movie. That's it. He's in the next movie.
I mean, why didn't you see him at the Crown Point explosion? Because number one, Oz, it's the whole thing is Oz's point of view. That's number one. And even Colin Farrell said he's got too much shit going on.
Yeah, I know, but you're still going to get those idiots who are going to complain about anything because that's what they got to do.
I mean, he said, I'm sure I filmed a scene and I was thinking in character, thinking, when I'm doing the scene, I'm probably thinking, well, not him, not Colin Farrell, but Oz is thinking, something about Batman. Batman gonna show up, it's like a night scene. He said, but at the end of the day, he's got too much shit going on to worry about that. Worry about the bat.
You worry about Batman when Batman pops up, right?
And Batman, as soon as he gets out, crawls out of underground and is on ground, he gets hit over the head with that.
Yeah.
With that.
And he's in a
stick.
jazz club. Like he's not there anymore.
And he's gone. So yeah, maybe Batman at night when no one was around went to that scene just to see. Maybe he says it's a big city. I can't be everywhere. Gordon lit up the bat signal at the end of the Batman for him. Matt Reeves has said when the Batman Part 2 starts, he's already on the next case. He probably started the next case at that point. And so I'm with them. I agree. It would come off, it would have felt shoehorned and contrived, especially if you got, like every once in a while they would go, yeah, we're doing this right now. I got all these mob bosses here, like the scene when he gets all those mob bosses, tries to, they're drinking the beer, cracking open, we're going to come together. If they said, yeah, well, we got to get this going because Batman may show. I mean, that would just be like, oh, come on, that's fan service type stuff. They're not. That's not they're not talking about.
I don't know. It never popped in my head. Like outside is just obviously the Crown Point scene with the explosion. That was the only time I ever thought Batman would pop up. But
in the day,
I didn't need him to.
Yeah.
I mean, in the daytime, I mean, it could have been some Bruce Wayne stuff. I
why would he go down there?
Well, I don't know. Again, like just thinking, it just happened. Like Bruce Wayne could do whatever he wants. He's the Prince of Gotham. He could literally go wherever he wants.
He rarely goes out. He still goes out at night. I mean, it was a struggle for him to be out in the daytime.
Like I was
went to the mayor.
Just thinking of like some type of like maybe like BVS thing, Bruce Wayne running through cloud. I don't know. Like it just pops in your head.
Don't even mention BVS in the same sentence with anything from the Batman saga. Come on now. Take your Batman card away from you there, sir.
Well, no one's, I mean, there's only one person on this show who's ever had their card taken away. That's you. Not me.
All right.
Like, I don't know, but that's it. Like outside of that, I never thought the character really would have fitted. Like, where's he going to do? He's going to pop in, in Arkham Asylum or like, it just didn't seem like it would fit right,
Didn't it? That's why they didn't put him in there. But the bat signal worked, didn't it?
Oh, it was fine. I mean, it definitely was.
That's all you needed.
Cool. Like, it didn't bother me at all.
Especially with the dialogue.
Set up.
With Eve telling Oz, you're at the top now, and there's nobody standing in your way, and then there's a bat signal.
No, it was good.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it.
Batman's coming, my friend.
I'm really ready for part 2. I can't wait. I'm really excited. This just makes me more excited. I just, it's just nice to have, it's nice to have, like, what is this? The movie's 2.5 hours is 8 hours. We got 10 hours in this whole world. Like this is really cool.
Oh, hell, you got about 11. Batman's almost 3 hours. And you throw in the before the Batman. I'm going to try this as I may document this, read before the Batman, read the Riddler Year One, watch the Batman, and then go right in and watch the Penguin and see how that all plays out and fits. Because it's they're all connected, right?
Yeah. No,
it's all connected.
It's all part of its own little world.
All right. So now we focus on the Batman Part 2. I would try to maybe do the Penguin chapter by chapter, but that would take that'd be a long series. That'd take about 100 podcasts to do that.
Did you notice that when Sophia was pulling out from the mansion as it was on fire, it was covered in snow? And I think that's, signaling Mr. Freeze is coming in the next movie.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Because obviously, he's
I'm sure Killer Croc lives down. He probably lives down in the,
Well, no, I mean, if you think about it, he's freezing the city, right?
Maybe they didn't drown. Maybe Killer Croc came up and ate them.
That's a possibility. Waylon's down there in the maybe the circus was. At
Yeah,
the
he's
time
down
of
there
the
cooking a
whiskey.
gumbo, and then he's his two boys, and he comes up there and he eats them, man. That's where
You
that's what
think Croc
happened.
cooks a good gumbo? He's
Oh,
got
sure,
to, right? He's a Louisiana boy.
Yeah, he's Cajun.
Yeah,
Sure.
but it's not gator, right? He can't eat gator. That'd be weird.
Yeah. Well,
He's definitely a chicken gumbo guy. He's not a seafood
probably.
gumbo guy.
Yeah. It's probably Jack and Benny gumbo. Jack and Benny
Little
Cobb
J&B?
gumbo.
Okay.
Yeah, gumbo. So sure, Mr. Freeze was there. He put all that, he iced up the Falcone mansion before
Mhm.
Sophia set it on fire. You got Killer Croc eating Jack and Benny Cobb.
And Batman is
yeah.
currently on the Clayface scene, so
Yeah.
that's where we are.
Yeah,
The Batman Part 2, Croc, Clayface, Mr. Freeze.
Yeah, it was shape shifting. Big Bob of glue out there. He's on that right now, working on that. That all started when, at the end of the Batman, you remember how all that mud and stuff on him after it came
That was
out
actually Clayface.
Yeah, it was Clayface.
Clayface was helping Batman.
It's almost like Venom. Clayface was stuck as mud on Batman's suit, and then he reorganized and took off running, and so that's why Gordon lit up the bat signal. And
I think that's it. I think
he robbed the bank.
People are going to think we stole, Reeves and Tomlin's script.
Yeah, exactly. All that's in there for sure. All right, Pete, you want to mention anything you got going on?
You can follow me at Pete Illustrated, Straight Outta Gotham, Spidey Coalition, Batman Book Club, Batman on Film.
There you go. All right, for me, Batman on Film, batman-on-film.com. Announcer Rachel will finish up here. We will catch you next time, and I am sad that the Penguin is over with.
You have been listening to the BOF Social Hour, Jett's official podcast on Batman on Film. Follow BOF on Threads at The Batman on Film. Follow BOF on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Batman on Film. To help keep BOF up and running, go to patreon.com/Batman on Film, or you can buy BOF a beer at buymeacoffee.com/The Real Batman on Film. For Jett and everyone at BOF, I'm announcer Rachel. Authoritative, definitive, the original Batman on Film, founded in 1998.